December 20th, 1968. A dark parking area off Lake Herman Road. Two teenagers are found dead, shot execution style. No witnesses, no evidence. 6 months later, it happens again. Another couple, another remote location. 9 bullets. But this time, the killer calls the police himself. I want to report a double murder. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye. And 3 weeks after that, newspapers across California receive letters, coded messages, threats of mass murder, all signed the same way, a circle with a crosshair, and 4 words that would become legendary. This is the Zodiac speaking. The Zodiac Killer murdered at least 5 people, claimed 37, sent cryptic letters for 5 years, then vanished. Police had a suspect. They searched his house. Survivors identified him, but they could never prove it. By the end of this video, you'll know why, and you'll understand why this case still haunts investigators 56 years later. Here's what made the Zodiac terrifying. He wasn't random. December 1968. David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, parked on a remote road, shot in cold blood. The killer uses a .22 semi-automatic. No shell casings inside the car. Professional. Calculated. July 4th, 1969. Darlene Farron and Mike Mageau, Blue Rock Springs Park, just 4 miles from the first murder. The killer returns twice, once to scope them out, then to execute. 9 shots. Darlene dies. Mike survives. Within an hour, that phone call to the police. Calm, almost bored, he takes credit for both attacks. But here's what breaks the pattern. September 27th, 1969. Lake Berryessa. This time, he doesn't use a gun. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard are on a picnic blanket. A figure approaches wearing a black executioner's hood, white crosshairs on his chest. He ties them up. Then he says something chilling. "I'm going to have to stab you people." Brian is stabbed 6 times. Cecilia 10 times. She fights. She screams. She dies 2 days later. Before leaving, the killer draws his symbol on Brian's car door, lists his previous attacks, signs his work. Then he calls the police, again, reports his own crime. But 2 weeks later, the Zodiac makes a mistake that should have ended everything. October 11th, 1969, San Francisco. Paul Stine picks up a passenger in his cab. At Washington and Cherry Streets, the passenger shoots Stine in the head, tear a piece of his shirt, walks away. 2 teenagers see it happen. They call 911. Officers arrive in minutes, and here's where it breaks. Officers Donald Fook and Eric Zelms see the killer walking away. Stocky build, crew cut, glasses, white male, but dispatch made an error. They're looking for a black suspect. The officers let him walk past. 3 days later, the Chronicle receives Paul Stine's blood-stained shirt in the mail, and a letter mocking the police. "I am the man who wiped out Paul Stine. The police will never catch me because I'm too clever." That description from the officers? It becomes the only confirmed image of the Zodiac. A police sketch, a face without a name. And that face? It matches someone the police already knew. Between 1969 and 1974, the Zodiac sent 20-plus letters. Each one is more unhinged. The first cipher, 4 to 8 symbols, is cracked in 20 hours. The message is disturbing. "I like killing people because it is so much fun. All the people I have killed will become my slaves for my afterlife." He threatens to blow up school buses, to massacre children. He draws bombs in his letters. He signs everyone with that crosshair symbol. But here's what investigators noticed. The Zodiac isn't just killing. He's performing. Every letter, every symbol, every threat. He wants to be remembered. He needs attention. He craves recognition. And that desperation. Does that mean that one needs to be seen as the smartest person in the room? That's what leads police straight to their prime suspect. His name is Arthur Lee Allen, former schoolteacher. Navy veteran. Convicted child molester. And he fits every detail. He matches the police sketch. He's the right height, weight, and build. He wears a Zodiac brand wristwatch, the same brand the killer references in letters. He lives minutes from the Lake Herman Road attack. In 1971, a friend reported him to the police. Says Allen talked about hunting people, about calling himself Zodiac, about attaching a flashlight to a gun exactly like the killer did. The police interview him. He's calm, confident, dismissive. They don't have enough to arrest him. 1991. Detectives search Allen's house. They find bombs, weapons, disturbing writings, but nothing definitive. Survivor Mike Mageau is shown a photo lineup. He immediately points to Arthur Lee Allen. That's him. That's the man who shot me. But here's the problem. DNA doesn't match. Handwriting doesn't match. Fingerprints don't match. In 1992, Arthur Lee Allen died of a heart attack. He's never charged, never convicted, and the Zodiac Killer, officially unsolved. In 2024, a family comes forward. They claim Arthur Lee Allen confessed to being the Zodiac before he died. He brought them to crime scenes before the murders happened. But here's the devastating truth about why this case will never be solved. The Zodiac operated in an era before DNA databases, before digital surveillance, before cell phone tracking. The forensic tools that catch killers today didn't exist in 1969. Arthur Lee Allen wore gloves. He used untraceable weapons. He left minimal physical evidence. And by the time technology advanced enough to potentially identify him, he was already dead. Even if Allen was the Zodiac, we'll never prove it. The evidence degraded. Samples were lost. The chain of custody was broken. The case isn't just cold. It's impossible, and that's exactly what the Zodiac wanted. To kill, to taunt, to vanish, to become a legend that could never be definitively solved. He didn't just escape justice. He escaped proof. Remember that first cipher? The one solved in 1969? I will not give you my name because you will try to stop my collection of slaves for my afterlife. The Zodiac kept that promise. 56 years later, his identity remains unknown. David Faraday, Betty Lou Jensen, Darlene Ferrin, Cecilia Shepard, Paul Stein. 5 confirmed victims. Their families never got justice. And somewhere, maybe in a forgotten file, maybe in someone's memory, the truth is waiting. But here's what keeps me up at night. The Zodiac isn't alone. Other killers did precisely what he did. Murdered, taunted authorities, and disappeared without a trace. The woman found cut in half on a Los Angeles sidewalk was the Black Dahlia case that Hollywood tried to forget. The 6-year-old beauty queen was murdered in her own home, John Benet Ramsey, where the family became suspects and the real killer walked free. These aren't just cold cases. They're impossible cases, and I'm covering all of them. Do you think Arthur Lee Allen was the Zodiac? Or is the real killer still out there? Comment below, and if you want answers to the cases that law enforcement gave up on, subscribe now, because the next one. The killer left a full confession and still got away with it. Unsolved doesn't mean forgotten.